I want to say your texting abilities on Skype are the worst I've ever come across. You make statements that don't define whether it's you or me, and then when I respond within 3 seconds of you sending me, I don't get a reply for 3 days.
Okay, well, I've got a question for you, right?
And I'm pretty sure it's because you're dizzy because you think you live on a spinning ball flying through infinite space.
Well, I've got 3 questions for you, David Weiss, Mr. DW. Right, you wrote to me earlier. I didn't know we were doing an interview with your ineffective communication skills. Now, this clearly is some hidden anger. Is it A, because I'm a limey and you think limeys are all stupid? Is it B, because Donald Trump has been possibly someone's trying to shoot him and you're emotionally disturbed about this? Or is it C, because you're a flat earther and you're not sure whether your head's up your ass or not? A, B or C?
It's actually D. It's because I'm a Jew.
You can't, yeah. What an answer. What an answer. Oh, David Weiss, welcome to Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. It's great to have you back because you're a funny man. You're a funny man. So how's life treating you over on that side of the pond?
This is a crazy, crazy world we live in. I can't even imagine what's going to happen next week after Election Day.
It's just mental, isn't it? It really is, and everyone's talking about it, right? So I got up at 6 o'clock this morning. I meditated. I went out of my door about 6:30, 7:15. I went running with some friends of mine. We did 32 clicks, right? And during that period, we spoke about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Okay, and the general consensus within the group is we'd prefer to have Hillary in the hot seat than Donald Thumps. Now, to be honest with you, exactly, right? And I said to them, are you aware about the Clintons? any idea about the body count behind these son of a bitches?
Wait a minute. Let's give Hillary a couple passes. I'm gonna forgive her for the 100+ body count. Okay. I'm gonna erase the board clean there.
Never happened. Never happened.
We're just gonna give her a pass on that. We're also gonna give her and her husband and the Bush crime family a pass on all of the cocaine they imported through the Armenia airport in Arkansas when they took over Pablo Escobar's business.
Well, hang on, let me just stop you there. Business is business, and quite a lot of us in Europe enjoyed that cocaine. Thank you very much.
So that's why I'm going to give her a complete and total pass on that.
Never happened.
Also, I'm going to give her a pass on her private server in her bathroom and giving out state secrets.
Oh, that clearly didn't happen. That never happened.
It's okay. I'm giving her a complete pass on it. I'm actually going to give her a check mark in, hey, I'm going to vote for you because of these 3 things. But the hard one, the one I'm having difficulty giving her a pass on, is that she is going to Satanist dinners where they're doing blood sacrifices and probably murdering babies, where she's going down to the pedophilia island with Epstein, her husband, who's gone countless times. She's gone a minimum of 6 times herself. And these pedophile perverts can't even wait to get to the island. The plane is decked out with sex rooms with children.
That's right. Well, you know, the truth is that the higher you go up, the seedier it gets. It seems. I mean, the UK is riddled with paedophilia. Absolutely riddled with it. Churchill was known to be a little bit touchy-touchy. And he was our great hero. But Hillary is completely satanic. She is absolutely a complete and utter see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, and I mean, the Podesta emails coming out, WikiLeaks, we can talk about WikiLeaks and what they really are.
Exactly, we need to.
Yeah, but these emails are coming out showing unbelievable, it's unbelievable because when you show it to somebody that's asleep, they're like, I don't believe that. That's conspiracy. But they're not denying that these emails are real. The connections with all of these Satanists are real. You know, they love their bloody owl worship, Moloch, you know, the evil owl. This woman should be in jail or burned at the stake at best.
Well, she should, but because she's doing such a good job, she gets massive bonuses, just like the bankers who showed us through the path in 2008. You know, no one went to jail. They got a huge amount of money, let's say 850 million, I think it was, Ben Bernanke got, and they all took the that's right, and they all took the cash, and off they went, and they bought a few islands and a couple of countries in North Africa. Absolutely incredible. So the deception that is going on is so deep, it's frightening. So let's, before we move on to WikiLeaks, let's just talk about Donald Thump, right? Donald is not going to save the United States of America.
You know, I wasn't going to vote, and then I got sucked in a little bit, and I was like, you know what, I have to vote, but now I'm not voting. There's no way I can vote. If you look at Donald Trump and what he's saying, wow, it's really a great story. Go in, drain the swamp, you know. But these people that have had power for beyond time periods that I could fathom aren't going to give it up. They're not going to allow this to win. Here's my thought, and it changes hourly now, let alone daily or weekly, is Donald Trump, he might be part of the system, but they let him run, but they're never going to let him win. Maybe it got a little out of control. Maybe, you know, but there's no way they're gonna win. Now, I think it's Time magazine or one of the big magazines has already printed the cover of their magazine with Hillary, the new president, on it. Even if he wins the popular vote, they're not going to give him the electoral vote. I mean, there's 29 states that if every single person voted for Donald Trump, they could say Hillary wins. So, you know, these electoral college votes, you know, I'm sure that they're immune from threats and bribery and payoffs.
But it's just bizarre, right? Because you're talking to intelligent people who I know, people who I call my friends, and they'll say to me about Donald Trump, they will say he's a racist, he's a bully, and apparently he's raped loads of people. Now, he may or may not have done that, but there's no evidence apart from the fact that the people who are saying that have picked this information up from the mainstream media. So this is the confusing thing, right? What is real and what isn't real? But the fact is, if Trump is the real deal, and he's going to go in there and he's going to turn over the Fed, and he's going to clear out all the scumbags who are the leading politicians, you know, and turn over the FBI and reset the CIA and actually get decent people to do proper jobs, which is what he's pretty much saying. He's saying let's make the United States great again. And you know what? It reminds me of bloody Barack Obama.
You know, no, Obama said, let's fundamentally change America, and he wasn't lying. He did. He fundamentally changed it to you know, a constitutionalist, you know, police state, and you know, he kept his word there. Donald Trump, he's part of the system. You know, he was broke at one point, and then they bailed him out. At that point, they got him. If it's true that he went down to this island, this Epstein Island, then there's video of him doing unspeakable things.
That's right.
And that's how nobody gets into these giant places of power unless they're pedophiles, because they won't let them in. And you know, if you go to one of these things and you sacrifice a baby and you have sex with a child and they get that on film, you're controlled forever. You can never come out. You're in that group and there's no way out ever. And that's it. Is Donald Trump in that group? I don't know. I like to say I'm on the fence, but basically the fence is broken at this point.
Yeah, that's right.
I hope. Maybe he thinks he can do it. You know, it's just a hope that I have. But this whole selection process, you know, is going to be crazy. Here's my prediction for the election. First, my thoughts on Hillary. I don't believe we're even seeing the real Hillary. I think there's major trickery going on there in all different forms, from electronic forms to doubles. You can call them clones if you want. the election will happen. Hillary will be elected president, and people will move on with their lives and say, okay, maybe we'll have hope and change. She'll go out and make a whole bunch of speeches, basically spewing nonsense and making people feel hopeful. But I cannot fathom a way that will even happen. I can't even consider a possibility that if she wins, there won't be riots. If he wins, there won't be riots. If she wins, there'll be there'll be controversy and recounts and all of that stuff. But it wouldn't surprise me if the brain dead, vaccinated, fluoridated, GMO'd, and chemtrailed brains of this world just don't care and move on.
They don't care. They do not care. They care about putting food on the table and getting from week to week at the moment, and they don't care about the big corruption that's going on and the fact that we possibly don't live on a ball. But let's not go there, because I know that's what you ultimately want to talk about. And Donald Trump is not going to save us. Hillary Clinton is certainly not going to save us. I wish there was someone who could come to the table and actually stand up and be real. Even JFK, it's very, very suspicious. The film of when JFK was assassinated. I can't even remember what it's called now. The Pedestra film. No, what's it?
We'll call it the Pedestra.
Yeah, no, we'll call it that.
The Zapruder film.
Zapruder, that's right. And you can see where they've clipped between each shot and whatever. That's a different conversation. But JFK told us that we went to the moon, right? So that puts him in, we're going to put the first man on the moon. Oh, of course you are, JFK.
So hang on a second. Is it possible he was lied to and he believed it? I mean, we all fell for it. Why wouldn't it be possible that he fell for it? Nixon was in office for all of the moon landings, all of them. It was all during Nixon's 8 years. So,
but what's the like?
He knew. I don't know what JFK knew.
Well, you know, the Kennedys, right? Big family. They're up there with the Rothschilds and the rest of them, aren't they? The Kennedys. You know, when you look through when you look through the background of the families, okay, so that would suggest that they're in the know, right? Because the people right at the top, and I quote Crrow777, by the way, he says that they're probably a different form of human than we are. Because of the amount of knowledge they've got, that they play with different rules are right at the top, because they know things that we are just not privy to know.
You know, if you look at it from their point of view, and you know, with what they know about the place that we live, I know that you want to talk about that too much, and the way people, you know, think. They look down at us as a different race, whether, you know, we're from the same genetics or not. They look at us as animals, as cattle, just like we look at cattle. You know, I have a little compassion for them, but man, they are delicious. You know, they think that they're special and that we are just cannon fodder, and that's how they've been treating us. And, you know, it goes beyond that with the Satanism, you know, all of these missing children that go missing every year. I don't think, you know, they never show up 20 years later. You know, these kids are being sacrificed and used.
Listen, bro, I've got first-hand experience of this. I grew up in Portsmouth. I went to St John's College, and I might get sued for this. But the brothers, the De La Salle brothers, they were all over the young kids. They were all over. I used to board on 2 nights, on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Brother Cyril was later convicted of, he was found innocent of paedophilia in 1980 and then hung himself. And I was a choir boy at the St John's Cathedral Choir down in Portsmouth, a very big choir in the diocese. I say diocese, you know, the Roman Catholic Church, and it was rampant. Absolutely rampant. Now, I personally, now looking back, you know, there are a number of boys who are directly being used for other services during my period there. No two ways about it.
This goes back to the Franklin scandal, where there was a sex trafficking ring from Boys Town, somewhere in England over there, to Washington, and they were you know, transporting these kids, a sex traffic ring, and there's stories of, you know, child sacrifices, and the Clintons and the Bushes were involved. Yep. You know, allegedly. Yep. But they're involved in everything.
Everything is allegedly, but this for me is a satanic plane that we live on, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces going on, and everyone from Jay-Z to Barack Obama and his man-wife Michael, you know, they're all trying to get power from a spirit that we call the devil. And there's number 33 all over this planet. I've really got into Russian vids recently, so my 2 favourites, apart from you, of course, are Russian vids and PK Truth, who that's funny. PK's hilarious. But number 33 angels on this plane, is that possible?
You know, the 33 is all over the place. I don't get it. You know, the numerology, you know, or gematria, as they call it, is I used to be like, oh, that's interesting. A lot of coincidences. There's no way. Everything is encoded with numbers and symbols. You know, there's a guy, Zach Hubbard. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, that gets into gematria. Crrow777 has him on a lot. But he talks about on 9/11, Flight 77 hit the Pentagon, which is 77 feet tall, which is on the 77th parallel. There was a whole bunch of other 77s there. On 9/11, 93 is a big Illuminati number. Flight 93 was supposed to hit Building 7, or fake hit it. Flight 11 and 175 hit the 2 towers. Add that together, divide by 2, 93. You know, there were so many 93s. Oh, and the Flight 77 crashed 77 minutes after takeoff. If 10% of them were fake, what about the other 90%, you know, or were coincidence?
Final end is that of Voltaire and the French Revolution, the destruction forever of Catholicism, end quote. Some other churches, such as the Church of Mormon. Joseph Smith, the founder of the Church of Mormon, was murdered by the Masons on June 27, 1844. The reason why is because Joseph Smith, who was a Mason, revealed the secrets of the Masonic Lodge in the Temple Endowment Ceremony. It's a ceremony in the Mormon Church, and they have the aprons on now still, and so forth. They're very similar to Freemasonry. The Masons also use the Masonic timetable system. They don't use AD. They use AL. AL is their standard of calendar system. It means Anno Lucis, and that means in the year of light. It could also be interpreted to mean in the year of Lucifer. So 4000 BC would be 0 AL, and 2000 AD will be 6000 AL, or 6,000 years since Lucifer was cast from heaven. And that system lines up because this is a picture of a Distinguished Achievement Medal awarded to C. Fred Kleineck, the current Sovereign Grand Commander of Freemasonry, on May Day, 5990 AL, which is 1990 AD. And you can also find AL on the cornerstone, at the engraved date of any cornerstone laid by the Masons. And I just mentioned May Day on that coin. May Day is very important for the Masons. We'll find out a little later why. The Masons definitely believe in symbology and numerology, and they have a fascination with the number 33. I believe they had major events happen on the 33rd degree latitude of the map. Masonic Encyclopedia says that Charleston, South Carolina was selected as the first home of the Council of the 33rd degree Masonic Lodge. And Charleston, South Carolina is right under the 33rd degree latitude of the map. Other major events that have happened on the 33rd degree latitude, it's where the first nuclear bomb was dropped, tested, Trinity Site, New Mexico. And the monument chosen to commemorate this site was an obelisk, which is a Masonic symbol, a phallic symbol. The 33rd degree latitude also passes over both Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. These sites were the place where the first two bombs, atomic bombs, were dropped.
The United Kingdom will continue to deliver on its long-term
My
plan.
head is banging and I can't get back to sleep, just like an addict who is desperately in need. Interfusion from the top down to my feet. The blood inside me starts to pump as I repeat, come on. You got a way of thinking, I got a way of thinking. We got a way of thinking and you got it wrong.
Russia and Ukraine. Iran.
I try to knock one out, sometimes it helps me think, cause I'm an addict who is blindly in belief. God can save me from my personal demise. I keep on driving when I can't see out my eyes, yeah. You got a way of thinking, I got a way of thinking. Got a way of thinking, so I wrote this song. Come on kids, sing along, yeah.
My lords and members of the House of Commons, the United Kingdom will continue to deliver on its long-term plan when taxpayers' money fail to pay their staff who lead sexual violence in conflict worldwide. Russia and Ukraine, Syria, Afghanistan, Iran, nuclear organized crime, modern slavery, the proceeds. My lords and members of the House of Commons.
Bang the kick drum so it matches both my feet. I'm so fucking needy I would even date the Queen. Have you ever noticed her eyes? They rarely move. She's a lizard wearing human leather shoes. You got a way of thinking, I got a way of thinking. We got a way of thinking and you got it wrong. Come on, I got a way of thinking, I got a way of thinking. Got a way of thinking, now sing my song.
My lords and members of the House of Commons, the United Kingdom will continue to deliver on its long-term plan when taxpayers' money fail to pay their staff who lead sexual violence in conflict worldwide. Russia and Ukraine, Syria, Afghanistan, Iran, nuclear organized crime, modern slavery, the proceeds. My lords and members of the House of Commons.
You got it wrong.
fake, what about the other 90%? You know, or coincidence? It's ridiculous. I advise you to listen to Zach Hubbard's 9/11 stuff.
Yeah, well, it's fascinating stuff. You know, we are under constant, what's the word, spellcraft. Words are being used to control us in a way that we're not even aware of. So Crow broke this down for me. So the word entertainment, enter to enter, tame to control, and ment is the mind. So to enter the mind and control, entertainment. And we're constantly being entertained. Go on.
Right. Tell, lie, vision, programming.
That's right.
So the box just basically hypnotizes you using frequencies, subliminals, and it's putting you in a trance, and it's just programming you.
That's right. That's exactly right. We are being programmed from the moment we get up to the moment we go to bed. And it's kind of frightening to realise how much of this is taking place. It's absolutely scary. And there we go. We look at WikiLeaks, right? So WikiLeaks are the big saviour. Boom, boom, boom. Guess what? Julian Assange doesn't live in the Ecuadorial embassy in London. And he's being paid quite a lot of money to be the front-facing side of some form of corporation. And all these leaks are coming from the CIA and from China, no? I don't know. But something's going on.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. We're having a fight with the elites, and they're using magic, and most people don't believe in magic. So it's not a fair fight. Whether you believe in it or not, they do it. They use blood over intent. They use all of these, Crowley-esque magic things that do work. In the realm that we live in, this stuff does have an effect, and they know how to manipulate it. I had a good point I was going to make, and now it's vanished.
I like that. You mentioned Alleister Crowley, right? And whether Alleister Crowley was a real person or not, I don't know. Right? I don't know because I question absolutely everything. Go on.
All right, I remember my point. So with the WikiLeaks thing, one of the things is the reason they tell us what they're doing before they do it, like 9/11, they told us many times that 9/11 was coming. They put all of these seeds out there because if you disclose what you're going to do, it has more power. They have to. We've talked about this. Not break our free will. So if they tell us in any way they want, even though, we kind of miss it, that's our problem that we miss it. And if we don't say no, we're saying yes, and they're allowed to do it. So they tell us what they're doing. And this blood magic that they use, the fact that they leaked that out right now makes it even more powerful because now we have the ability to say no, but most people choose not to even look at it, therefore making it more powerful. If WikiLeaks was real and they had all of this stuff on the Clintons and everyone else, don't tell me that embassy wouldn't have blown up years ago and they would have blamed it on Assad or Putin or ISIS, and then the American people a day later would have forgotten about it.
That's right. That's absolutely right. People forget like that because they're actually not interested. They would rather be entertained by their television. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And what really upsets me the most is when these discussions do come up, people just turn their back on anything that isn't socially acceptable. But Julian Assange is nothing more than an absolute facade. Julian Facade.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the information he's putting out is real information, but they're scheduling it to come out.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's real information. It's very much like Alex Jones. Alex Jones gives real information out, but he's controlled. And, it's really hard for me to come to terms with this, actually. Because, I really want Donald Trump to be the real deal, right? I'd really like one politician to say, okay, I'm going to make a change. B, I wish there were some heroes in life. I really wish there was someone who was a hero.
I'm here. DeepInsideTheRabbitHole.com is the place to wake everybody up to all of this deception. I am your hero. I'm here for you.
Well, there you go. Right. Have you got a big picture? I can have it on the wall. Maybe I can throw darts at it.
I sell those on my website. Actually, I don't sell anything on my website.
No, I've been on your website, and your website's very good. In fact, your content is very good. Do you do that yourself, or do you work in a tandem with someone?
So the website, I have I'm not the designer behind it. I have a guy working with me. He does the design, but I pick the content that goes in it. And the content, some of it's mine, but 95% of it is other people's work. Like if you go out there and search, 9/11 or gematria or whatever, Hillary green screen. There's millions of videos. I've taken the best videos and I put them up there with the best articles, images. It's kind of a nice site. It's a little unfriendly on mobile devices just because it's such a big site, but it does work, and it replaces your television. You can cancel your cable for 6 months, and you won't be able to get through all the videos on my site, all for free.
There's a lot of content on there, but the website is slightly heavy, that's for sure. But still, it's very good. It looks really good. And it's got a lot of quality content on there. Now, when I was also running this morning, I did note to my mates that as we ran along the Mediterranean, it was very flat. But no one, but no one actually responded to that. Went, oh, that's nice.
Nobody likes having their ball taken away. But once you realize the realm that we live in, you'll look like out over the Mediterranean, and if there's cumulus clouds, you'll look and you'll be like, look at them. They go straight out. They don't bend over and show us their bottoms as they disappear over the curve of the earth. And you look at it and you're like, it looks perfectly flat. But unless you know that the earth is flat, you've been programmed so much that no matter what you see a ball. Like I could see a curve when I look out on the horizon if I think it's curved. But if I know it's not, then you could look and you change the way you see.
But we've been heavily programmed, right? So here's an example. Donald Trump making a speech last night, and apparently someone will try to kill him, right? That's the mainstream media big news. My son said to me, Dad, there's a game where you have to be a Secret Service man, and you've got to defend against Donald Trump when he's making a speech running to be the president. I said, no way, right? And he showed me online. I'll put it in the background here. But there's a game now. It takes a year maybe to develop a game. Okay, so whoever's developing this game, either got very lucky or it's part of the programming that's going on. Plus, my son plays a game called Call of Duty, but he's on an older version because he doesn't like the newer versions, and he's fighting in Yemen, and this was created before they went and fought in Yemen.
That's very, very interesting with the programming and the way our minds work. In that game, do you fail a lot and Donald gets assassinated?
Yes, you do. Yeah. Well, I've only seen it once, but you definitely feel and Donald got a bullet in the head. Yeah, that's right.
Oh man, there's so much garbage on YouTube that it's horrifying. There's another YouTuber out there, I'm not going to mention him, who's talking about the Donald thing, and he said he was eating dinner and he heard pop 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 pop. And then when they played it back, the sound was edited out. That the gunshots were edited out. Complete and total garbage. People are just lying because they want to be part of something. He may have thought he heard that, but there's a whole bunch of cell phone actual videos of people videoing. It's just a commotion. Somebody might have yelled gun, and maybe they whisked them off, or maybe the entire thing was staged. It really looked kind of lame to me, but it's possible somebody was yelling and somebody stupidly yelled gun, and there was no gun. Yeah,
but either way, gun, no gun, Benghazi, no Benghazi, it goes on and on and on, doesn't it? $850 billion on the $850 billion. Either way, us sheeple, we're getting shagged left, right and centre, right? If they say jump, we go, mah. They say sit down, we go, mah. And off we go, and no one's questioning, no one's challenging. Well, not enough people, and even within the alternative community, it's very difficult to know who's who and what's what, because there are some lunatics in our environment as well, are there not?
There's lunatics in every group. A lot of people, I do a lot of videos on the flat earth, and the comments I get, you flat earthers, just all think this, and they all jump to incorrect facts. So you think the sun is 3,000 miles away? Well, the sun would never set. I don't think the sun is 3,000 miles away. I just delete comments like that. There's so much disinfo out there. You have to have the ability with your higher mind to sort out what's real and what's not. You actually instantly, when you hear or see something, instantly in the first millisecond, know whether it's true or not. Then your mind, your lower mind gets in the way and starts making excuses and changing the story, and you don't trust your higher mind, your intuition, and then that's where people get screwed up.
That's right, and we're using the lower mind and we're not using the higher mind, right? So Netflix and all this shenanigans, the movies, the constant stream of episode after episode in these films, or I don't know what they're called, Walking Dead or whatever it is. It's an endless stream.
You watch The Walking Dead, right?
Yeah, I've watched some of it. Yeah, that's right. Like this, like a zombie going next episode. Next episode.
I was out watching a band last night at a restaurant bar, and I'm talking to a buddy who's awake, and I go, look at all these people. It's The Walking Dead. They're literally, I look at them, and they are the zombies. They have no idea what's going on, and most of them are voting for Hillary. Even if they were voting for Donald, it still makes them a zombie.
Yeah, that's right.
They all believe 9/11 was real. And that everything is fine, and that the government is out for our protection. I mean, it's hysterical.
Yeah, listen, someone said to me, beautiful girl, she said, listen, Dave, I should have said listen, just call me Herschel. But she said, listen, Dave, how on earth do you know 9/11 was an inside job? And I said, listen, Suze, how on earth? I can't believe you don't know that it wasn't an inside job. I said, who do you think did it? Osama bin Laden? I just started laughing. It's insane.
And from their point of view, you look insane. The thing is, believing a lie is easy. Someone in a lab coat tells you something, you're okay, and then you eat some more potato chips, drink some cola, and watch some television, and you just poison your mind. But to learn the truth, you have to think, you have to look, you have to reason. The problem is right now, people will listen to videos, watch things on their screen and then just agree with them. They won't watch it and then think and actually come up with their own hypothesis or create, their own opinions. They only know, especially kids these days, what the screen tells them. They might be agreeing with us right now, but you shouldn't agree with us. You should think for yourself before you agree. But people have taken that thinking out.
Yeah, and I personally need to get back to reading more quality books, and loads of them. Read books, and try and infiltrate that kind of effort to engage with the higher side of my thinking over to my kids. I'm lucky enough to meditate, and I think that's really key for me individually, and to exercise, and I drink good water. So I try and stay away from the fluoridated water that's out there, and pick out decent food.
Without getting into water too much, water is the key. But fluoride, it literally poisons your brain. It's the only active ingredient in Prozac, and it's the only active ingredient in rat poison, just for a heads up there. But meanwhile, everyone drinks it in their water during the day, and every morning and every night they put a little dose in their mouth and swish it around. It's unbelievable. You couldn't get people to take a medication that was good for you on a regular basis like that.
That's right. Very clever. Very clever. Because not only do they put the fluoride in the toothpaste, but they've also taught a whole series of dentists all around the world that fluoride is good for us. And I had this conversation with my dentist, who's a lovely woman, and I said, Caroline, listen, you do realise that fluoride is bad. And she said, no, Dave, no. Fluoride's the way to go forward, don't you worry. And it's changing the...
Run away.
But to change this level of ignorance about life is impossible.
Not impossible. I did it with my dentists. I brought in pamphlets. I gave them links. I told them stories. And now my dentist no longer uses fluoride. And when a parent comes in and says they want a fluoride rinse for their kid, she makes them read the pamphlets. And I don't know if she's even doing anymore. But she doesn't use fluoride. She still does have Colgate gives them the sample toothpaste to give out to everybody. And I asked her to stop giving those out, but that's to come.
Have you had the flat Earth conversation with your dentist yet?
Yeah, she knows the Earth is flat. Okay. I mean, the flat Earth is the most important thing out there. It's bigger than the election.
Why?
Because they're using their magic. They are keeping us in a low vibration of fear, and they are disconnecting us from our higher selves, from our higher minds. They are making us believe that we are a random speck without a God, and that we we're just a chance in the universe, and that we could die at any second, and that's the end of it. And that's what they want us to believe. And in that believing, we limit ourselves to this ball, and we do not expand our minds, our higher minds, our consciousness. But once people realize that it's all a lie, that there is so much more, that we are not a random speck in an infinite universe, and that we are intelligently designed, everyone changes. I've seen it. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in every person that actually gets into flat Earth. Most people go in to debunk it and then never come out. Because once you seriously look, you find out that we live on this beautiful, created infinite plane, possibly infinite plane, where there is so much more, and we rise above the low vibration of these archons, of these evil spirits or whoever's running this place, and they can't touch you. When you rise above them, they cannot reach you. Only when you lower yourself into fear, and Roosevelt said it, the only thing to fear is fear itself. I think it was Roosevelt. That is the truest statement I have ever heard, because fear will create everything you're afraid of. But rising above it, and then it cannot touch you. So I used to think, I found out about the flat Earth, and I didn't even talk about it because it was gonna discredit everything I did on all the other stuff, 9/11 and all the other hoaxes. But then I realized the truth is the truth, and then I realized, wow, this is more important than I thought. And every day, the more I think about it, the more important I see it is. I've seen it transform people from being in this limited state to expanding themselves and literally rising above it. We are in a time of a great awakening right now, and waking up to any of this stuff is good, but waking up to the true nature of who we are and where we live is the most important thing going, because it will stop everything else.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, because I think that flat Earth confirms the existence of God.
I never believed. So here's the thing. I used to do all this research, and I'm listening to all these podcasts, and the second they mention God, Jesus, anything religious, boom, I'm off and I go to the next thing. That's me. I'm the ultimate atheist, because I never got into religion. I tried different things. They tried doing a little bit of the temple thing growing up. Never got into any of it. I looked at Buddhism and Christianity, and I didn't buy any of it. And I believed in evolution and the heliocentric, Earth. That I'd love to talk about that if you want. And then I went in to debunk this flat Earth nonsense. And there's no doubt that we don't live on a spinning ball. We live on a flat realm. And then when you do that, you have no choice but to realize this is intelligently designed. There is a creator. And the reason I don't use the word God, which is a perfectly fine word, is because the word God would have scared me away years ago. It would have scared me away. It's intelligently designed. Who did it? How did they do it? Where are they? What are their intentions? I don't get into that. It's intelligently designed. There is a creator. There's lots of assumptions that are probably right that you can make from that. So that's where I am. It has changed who I am. People say, flat Earth, it's a religious cult. Baloney. Not religious at all. I would love to prove that the flat Earth created itself, but I can't.
But there is, well, there's two things here, right? One is God, and it's a God of your own understanding, okay? Because God could be the creator of the universe, whatever,
Maybe we're all pieces of God.
Well, that's kind of where I'm coming from. Consciousness. We're all part of consciousness, and as we wake up, and the more of us wake up, and we realise that we're not in competition with each other because we all come from the same source.
So think about this. We're taught in our de-education system that our brains are our consciousness, that this is it. That's literally like saying the television has all the content in it. That is not the case. The television is the receiver. That thing inside that skull of yours is a receiver for who you are, and you can reach out and get information. That's been proven. You look at all these people that are predicting things, that can figure out crazy numbers. That Brain Man guy, and there's so many people that do things, or kids that know things about previous lives. How could they know that unless they're connecting outside of the skull? Your brain is an amazing receiver. Our blood is the most powerful substance in the universe. I don't even like using the word universe anymore, in the realm that we live in. And the elite know this. Keep us thinking that we're inside our ball head and that there's nothing else, across this realm.
That's right, and we all know that the elite love. Well, it's suggested that the elite like to drink blood, and there's a reason why they do that. Because blood is very, very, very powerful. But there's another thing, which is the flat Earth conversation came out of nowhere. Could it be another psyop?
So you know what? There's psyops. The 9/11 came out of nowhere. Is it a psyop? Yeah, look at it. We figured it out over time. Flat Earth isn't going away. Nobody has ever talked to me. I found this stuff myself. I believe that it came out of nowhere because we had to get to a point of consciousness that we could handle it. 5 years ago, you threw out this flat Earth stuff. I don't think people would have. I mean, it was out there actually, but nobody was grasping it. 10 years ago, even less. But now it's ramping up by millions. There's people. I get emails every day like, "Wow, I thought it was nonsense. Wow, it's changed my life. It's so obvious." Is it, did the intention for it to come out, spring from somewhere? Sure. I recently, I've known about this blood, the power of blood, blood over intent and stuff, but, and I've known about, the stuff they do at Bohemian Grove over the owl. And I've heard all sorts of stories for, years. I've been talking about this, but just a week or two ago, I started looking into blood over intent, where there's a bunch of videos that came out where people write your intentions down and you prick your finger and you put some blood on it and then you publish it by coming out in the open. And it has great power. And it's like, wow, that's really interesting. And I was starting to look at that. And then 3 days later, Podesta emails come out, where they're talking about blood over intent parties. Is that a psyop? Or is it just something that's hitting mass consciousness at a time when we're vibrating into that awareness? So that's where we are.
Greetings, citizens of the world. We are anonymous. We are at the crossroads of a great awakening. An awakening so large that all awakenings of the past will be of no comparison. For centuries, the elite have been able to control the population of the world by controlling the flow of information. People would rely on the printed word in newspapers and books. If the elite had something go awry, they had the ability to squash the flow of information and correct it. As the population grew, they implemented their biggest mind control weapon, known as the television, where they could program the masses on a global scale. They even gave us the internet to use so they could get the population to help contribute to their own control system by using their CIA-run Facebook and letting them know every move they make, including who they associate with and identifying their faces. Once the elite had their general facial recognition database, they stepped it up a notch and gave us Snapchat and had us completely map out our faces for them. They relied on the fluoridation, vaccination, GMO consumption and chemtrail program to keep everyone's brains in a retarded state and unable to think clearly. They needed to keep us in a constant low vibration of fear, and did this by countless false flag and hoax operations, which included the 9/11 false flag, the Boston bombing hoax, the Sandy Hook hoax, the Nice, France truck massacre hoax, the Charlie Hebdo shooting hoax, the Cassidy Stay family massacre hoax, the Orlando Pulse nightclub shooting hoax, the San Bernardino shooting hoax, and many others. They have kept everyone in fear of getting cancer, even though there has been natural cures for decades. When people do get cancer from the vaccines and other poisons they were given, they are forced to take more poison chemotherapy and subject themselves to harmful radiation to make sure the chemo killed them. However, some people's spirits were so strong that they survived these atrocities. People have stopped staring into the mind control machine called television programming and have started to look elsewhere for truth. However, the elite are not too worried about people waking up to all the previously mentioned hoaxes and false flags, but are now focused on distracting the population from waking up and finding out the biggest lie of all. The lie that keeps us believing we are insignificant and powerless, living on a planet with limited resources in fear of death every single day. That lie is the heliocentric ball Earth lie. People are starting to look and use their minds and see that we are not on a spinning ball, spinning and swirling through infinite space. Millions are awakening to the simple truth that we live on a beautiful, amazing, incredible, and mind-blowing flat stationary plane. The Earth is flat and does not move and was created and not a random accident. The elite are crapping their pants and trying everything to distract the population from this awakening. They have increased the nonsense in the political arena to levels beyond anything that has ever been seen before. They have even disclosed their satanic practices of baby sacrifice and pedophilia in hopes to stop the flat Earth awakening. They have increased the poisons in their aerial spraying programs. They are pushing for more poisons to be injected into our bodies. They have increased the transmission of radiation through their cell tower weapon system. More movies pushing space and aliens and destruction of the planet, and more importantly, the ridiculous belief we actually live on what NASA and Disney have told us a planet is. Many of you hearing this message right now already know we live on a flat Earth, and the government is made up of satanic, sadistic child molesters with only their desire of power over us in mind. If you are hearing this information for the first time, you should consider waking the fuck up. Once you do, then you need to step out of your coma and wake up your family and friends. I must warn you, the mind control programming is very powerful, and many people are not going to like being woken up and chose to fight you to protect their mind paradigm. You need to be strong and not give in to their insistence on being a mind controlled slave. The best way to wake up a mind controlled sheeple is to set their computer homepage to www.deepinsidetherabbithole.com. Please spread the word. Time is running out. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. United as one. Divided by zero. Expect us.
Yeah, the Podesta emails are very interesting, and the fact that they've been released at this particular time, and there seems to be chaos, absolute chaos in the political scene over the US, which has knock-on effects to the rest of the world, would suggest that behind the scenes they know exactly what they're doing, because these things do not get released unless there's rhyme and reason behind them, do they?
No, they and guessing at the reason that they do it, we're just speculating, but it all, to me, everything goes down to one thing: natural law, not breaking our free will. And then the power of, I think it was Crowley or somebody, don't quote me on that, that said, if you hide your intent, it doesn't have the power. If you announce your intent, its power spreads through this matrix that we live in.
That's right, and there's so many signals and messages and images. It's just it's kind of overwhelming. But I want to ask you before we start wrapping this baby up. I want to ask you. You said you didn't vote, but who were you going to vote for?
Well, I definitely wasn't going to vote for Hillary. And then with all of this stuff coming out, I'm like, well, I got to vote for Trump. Because of what he's saying, even though, here's the thing. If Trump gets elected and doesn't do what he says he did, or at least, try to do it, there's going to be a revolution. It's going to be insane. I just don't believe that Trump can be elected. The reason I'm not voting is because I think there's magic in voting, by putting your intent out there, that you are approving of this system, that you are feeding energy into it. I don't want anything to do with it.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I asked the same question to Crrow777, and he said that he would not get involved with such fraud. He's not interested in voting for fraud.
That you know what, Crrow777, I gotta just send some love out to that guy. He does his own thinking. He uses his higher mind. He's 99% right, and the stuff that he's 1% wrong on, he's not even strongly on that. He just mentioned it in passing. His podcast is my favorite. I wish he would do more. Crrow777 Radio, I think that's his website. Make sure you link it in the video right here, because everybody needs to be listening to this guy, because he's waking people up.
Well, listen, bro, you're going to love this. If you haven't come across Crrow's recent announcement, he has claimed that he's seen the curvature of the dome.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Of course. I've seen it, too. I didn't know what I was seeing. I was actually in the mountains in Pennsylvania on an ayahuasca retreat. It was the most clear night ever. After we came out of the medicine, we were still actually in it a little bit. I was pretty much out of it. We went outside, and there was meteor showers, and the stars were amazing, and you could see the Milky Way. It's the dome. It's the curvature of the dome. Whatever that image we're seeing is, it makes so much sense. But he doesn't want to call himself a flat earther, because flat earther goes with flat earth society and all the stigma. So he uses different words. God bless him.
That's right. I'm also not a flat earther, but you.
Yeah, but we don't live on a spinning ball. Come on, Herschel.
I tell you what I do know. I know that everything I've ever been taught is an absolute lie. And it's kind of funny and kind of shocking, and then kind of relieving, because if
what did you make your kids for breakfast today? Pancake balls?
Yeah, we had flat pancakes, that's right. Yeah. And right. I got told off because I ate more than everyone else. But I said, you snooze, you lose, kids. You snooze, you lose. There you have it.
And how old are they? 3 and 5?
No, sadly they're not. They used to be. They are 16 and 13. Although I don't look old enough to have children who are 16 and 13. I know. Yeah. You don't mean that. Okay, David Weiss. This has been an absolute pleasure. Deep inside the rabbit hole. Have you got any final words before we head into the new week and your new a president will be selected?
My message is we're all preaching to each other that the people that listen to your show mostly know what's going on. If you find some new information, look into it yourself and then share it with others. Speak to your friends and family. Break them. Don't be afraid of rejection. And my website is all about that. It has the greatest videos. Just like, hey, check out this video. Link them to one video on my site, then they'll go to another one. I also recommend that you go to the 10 Flat Earth pages and start plowing through that material so you can speak up about this and know. And be more confident, and less of a pussy in saying that you are a flat earther.
I can tell you that I am not a flat earther. However,
I've recorded some of our offline conversations, and if you keep that up, I'm going to release them and show that you are a flat earther.
Herschel 36 is not a flat earth, but when I look over the Mediterranean today, it looks rather flat to me. That's all. That's as far as I will go. But I'm yet to be convinced. But I certainly don't think we're hurtling through the universe.
So wait, hang on. A good place to get started, because people won't watch a 45-minute video on Flat Earth. My YouTube channel, DITRH, stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH.com. All my videos are under 5 minutes.
They are.
Or 2 minutes.
And they're very good. They are very, very good. You're up there, PK Truth, who, if you haven't heard of PK, check out his stuff as well, because he is hilarious and just says it how it is. And then Russian Vids is very good as well, if you're interested in numerology and why these people, every word has got a number associated to it. You've got to understand that.
If you're interested in my comment about Hillary being faked, and that's them fooling us, go to, on my Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, go to Holographic Symbology page, and there it will show you some of the technology that they're using. It'll show you Obama did a complete CGI speech in the White House when he did his ISIS speech, and then make up your own mind from there. Don't believe anything that you see or hear. Think for yourselves.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share all over social media. That behind me, ladies and gentlemen, is a chemtrail. They're chemtrailing you, me, your children, your parents, grandparents. Over.